Welcome to the New World Compendium, your source of information here in Arkaniir. Come, take a seat, grab a drink, and let us tell you all the news, rumors, and stories from this fantastic island. I'm your host Arkaniir Silvershield, and I'm joined by two of my great co-hosts, Sivian and Stormzlord. How's it going, guys?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
Good. Excited because we got... Well, excited and a little bit sad, as is all the Play New World communities today, because to our luck of not being able to record yesterday due to my power outage and recording today, we got some very important news that we are going to go into. And that is, the release of the game has been delayed a month from August 31st to September 28th. So we have some stuff to discuss, we have some stuff to brainstorm and, just overall go over. And then I guess if we have time, we are gonna talk about how we experienced the closed beta among ourselves, since that is now over as well, and it's safe to give our impressions and everything like that on it.
Sure. Absolutely.
We actually have been discussing this for the past 15-ish minutes in the pre-show, when we realized we actually didn't start the show, do any intro of any kind, so we are just gonna re-discuss some of the things.
Oops.
Yeah. But if you want to have access to all the pre-show stuff, you can support us on Twitch or Patreon at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork, shameless self-plug, and have access to all the cut content and extra benefits and bonuses like that. I'm gonna squeeze that in there. Also, if you guys haven't started your Audacity recordings, we may start that as well now, as I just remembered. Just as a safe.
Well, we may not get mine. My mouse isn't working, so we're really having issues.
Oh wow, okay. So first your mic, now your mouse.
Yeah, first I'm like, no, my mouse. This is the problem with moving into the wood shop. I'm like, what's going on?
I do see for anyone who's watching this in video format, the amazing New World Compendium logo printed, or rather burned, on the wood back there, and that looks
good.
That came out.
Looks awesome.
5 hours for that to burn. It was a pretty good burn.
I actually didn't think it was going to burn that precisely. That's just even to the dots and dashes that are in our logo.
Yes.
That's pretty
I was wondering about that, but yes, they're in there. Should it supposed to do that? Yes. Okay, we'll leave that one go.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So, okay, without letting more suspense build up, I guess, let's get into our big news. So earlier today, during the recording of this, they released another message from the New World team about the delay of the game. So I'm gonna read that, because it has some extra information in there as well. We are humbled by the support New World received from players around the world throughout closed beta. During beta, more than 1 million adventurers played, more than 16 million total hours, which later they updated that to 25 million hours total played. Thanks to your support, New World became one of the most watched games on Twitch and one of the most played games on Steam. The passion and enthusiasm you have shown for New World validates the work we've put into it over the past year, improving the game based on your feedback. Which they have done, really, they really have done. Along the way, you have also given us a ton of feedback that we'll use to make New World even better. We want New World's launch to be a smooth and fun experience for all players, and that means making some improvements based on what you encountered during closed beta. So we are going to take a few extra weeks to smash bugs, improve stability, and polish the game. New World's new global launch date is September 28, 2021. This was not an easy decision to make. We know this isn't the first time we have changed our launch date in pursuit of quality, and that it can be disappointing to wait a bit longer. But we want to be sure to deliver you the highest quality game possible at launch. Thank you for your support and feedback. We're listening. We'll see you in our tournament. So first of all, numbers we have discussed previous episode. Fantastic closed beta or pre-order test, whatever you want to call it. with numbers and everything. And for the most part, it went smoothly, except there was indeed issues. Now,
Sure.
the community took this in multiple different ways. There are, like myself, people who support this because I believe as much delay as necessary is good. As long as they fix stuff, improve stuff, delay is good. I'd rather play a smoother launch period than just have a disaster launch, because it hurts the game a lot in the long run. Look at Elder Scrolls Online. It took them several years to recover from their launch.
It did.
First 6 months, it took them years to live off that, shake that off.
To shake that off.
Yeah. So I think it's good. Now, some players are very frustrated, and they are either claiming they are no longer going to be playing the game, or they are refunding, or that this will kill the game. This will basically, all the community is gonna disappear. And while
That's a hard 3 weeks.
yeah. While I understand the frustration, those things are not gonna happen over a month delay. And then there are the people who are frustrated, sad, and still support the decision to delay that if it was necessary. So yeah, the community is split on how they are reacting to this news, and we are gonna get into it ourselves and discuss why this might be.
And real quick, I just want to preface this with I myself don't have game design background. I don't have coding background or development background, right? Ark and Storms here both have either it be game development, coding, or just development, software development in general.
Yeah.
They do have that type of history. So I'm curious to hear both of your points on this as to the delay, right? So for me personally, yeah, I'm disappointed. I want to play the game. Release the beta again. Come on, give me something. Right? But for me, it's disappointing. I want to get into the game, but I look at it as they might have run into something, and I don't know what it is, and hope they fix it. So for you guys, I'm curious to hear both of your points on this.
I feel like Storms and I will have separate ideas on this. Now, Storms, I think you... Yeah, because since, as I said, we were discussing it sort of early on before we started the show. You think a month isn't that much of a time that would allow you to fix, a lot of things or polish the game a lot or do anything like that. And this relates to sort of like a specific issue. You said something.
The wording sounds like fluff.
Fluff is the word I looked from all the word it came from. It didn't sound like it anything specific, right?
Oh.
When Ashes of Creation, they delayed for years. They specifically said background networking, without saying exactly what it was. What they've listed is a bunch of marketing fluff, right? Yeah. So to me, there's some other reason. Could be wrong, but I think there's some other reason. One I was just thinking about before, after we talked before, was August 31st is a holiday weekend in the United States.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe that's not the best weekend to let that go on. Maybe the next release weekend that they had possible was whatever weekend. Because while they are Amazon Game Studios, so they're probably restricted to launch weekends. Again, I don't know. So that might be one thought. The other thought was they found some security issue that they don't want to tell us about because it's a security issue, right? And it's running on AWS. So it's not just a game security issue. It's a security issue for Chase and Huntington and every bank out there who has stuff in it. Right? That's a bigger problem than the game could be a bit late.
Yeah.
But
But I could see that causing a delay.
I mean, so it's like when we had something similar at AWS through a vendor, it took us a couple of weeks to get it tested and QA'd, and the security fix moved in because AWS lets you set your security as you want it.
Okay.
They don't enforce you to do it, right? So it's like, well, you need to do this. This is what we suggest, but you do what you want.
Okay.
well, we met with them and we said, nope, you're the vendor. That's wrong. You need to do it this way. So we had to test it and work through it. And we got to the point where we could say, okay, this is what needs to be done. We could fix it, test it, but then we had to wait for the launch window because you had a certain period of time that you could do a launch, depending on how they're doing the launch. So it depends on what this is. I honestly, though, I think it's fluff bearing something else they're fixing.
So Storms, let me ask you real quick.
Go ahead.
Was that an AWS limitation to launching your patch?
Yes.
Huh.
There was certain windows.
Okay.
It depends how you pay it, right?
Okay,
And certain
gotcha.
people, maybe game studios, can do it anytime they want.
Maybe not.
Other companies are reliant upon smaller companies to do things, right? We don't know who does their security. Is it Is it actually AWS?
Right.
Does Game Studio vendor it out? I don't know, right? Depends how it all works.
Right. I mean, I would imagine they would handle it. They would handle it in house, since they are
There's a
using
lot of
their
that's not
own
in-house.
Well, they're using their own infrastructure, so
They're using their own infrastructure, but that doesn't mean they're the only ones who support it, right? Because Amazon, I'm not positive, but I would lay money, has smaller companies supporting them so they can have a bubble support.
Subsidiary type.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
maybe
makes sense.
subsidiary
Yeah.
or vendor or something,
Sure.
because you have to be able to handle the influx of Christmas and the Christmas holidays and the what's going to go there. You got to bubble staff down in the beginning of the summer when there's not as many people.
Yeah.
I don't know. It all depends how they want to do. So there's a lot of reasons this could be. We just don't know, other than I don't buy the marketing fluff, right? Why it was.
Well, I think we'd all agree. Yeah, there were some bugs they have to fix. Those, I would imagine not take very long. I don't know the severity of them.
I saw nothing that would delay it 3 weeks.
And the server stability or improved stability, as Storms, you kind of alluded to this. It seemed like they kind of fixed that towards the end of the beta. I ran into pretty big PvP lag.
Well, that could be it too, because I
towards the
didn't play a
middle.
lot of PvP.
That's
right?
what I
So-
was gonna say. Yeah, because
Yeah,
while
they
they
could be the
fix
PvP
sort of
side,
the default server lag in crowd situations when a lot of people were fighting, that there was still massive lag, and I saw that from a lot of people both on Twitter and on Reddit and the Discords.
That could be what they have to fix.
And you will, if there's YouTube videos out there where literally during an invasion, everybody's just standing in one spot. You can see damage meters going up.
Yeah.
But nobody's moving.
And it was interesting. I was playing one time in a hotel and very bad internet, and I could see that when I was running, all of a sudden I'd keep running and everybody else would stop. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, some sort of lag going on. We'll figure that out. Could be the hotel, but it could have been the server, right? So we'll have to figure that one out, how they come across it.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping they release on the 21st. I really think, I'm not going to quit, but it's just I really just want to play this game. I just really, honestly, I'm tired now of getting up to level 25 and having to stop. Right.
Yeah.
So I want to get going and keep going, and I want to get up to a tracking level of 130 so I can track wolves with a compass. Right. That's what I want to do. There's no reason to do that in a beta. It was halfway through when it cut.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that PvP lag is definitely, or rather mass battle lag is definitely within the things they are going to be focusing. There were also a lot of the small bugs that really annoyed me, and from everything I saw in global chat, a lot of people, just very simple, that upcoming war panel in the map not disappearing until you press X. And
I think it's the panel.
I
think it's the panel, because I had the same problem with the abandoning event panel.
Yeah.
Right?
So
I had the exact same problem.
There's
So
something
whatever
wrong
they're
with their
using to put
UI.
that panel up, that UI's got an issue, right? That is something you can fix in 2 weeks.
Did
Well,
either of you have
again-
the issue where you had a random, you know how when you hover over an icon, it gives you the data of it? Did either of you have the issue when you were mining or logging or skinning? Because I had it in all three, where the data would pop up as if it was in my inventory.
Oh,
No.
no.
Yeah, I had it
That
with,
I didn't have.
maybe it was me. I don't know. So the only way I could get rid of it was to open my inventory and just quick mouse over all of it and then close it and it would go away.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
I had issues with my weapon swap a lot. So I would, for example, swap
Really?
weapons while I'm attacking because, Elder Scrolls Online animation canceling habit. My skill bar would swap, but my weapon wouldn't swap. So my weapon and my skill bar would not match. And I'm like, trying to use a skill from my sword and shield, just spamming Q, but my weapon bar is on Great Axe, so I can't do anything, and I die in PvP. I had that happen a lot, so I feel like there are so many little annoying bugs like this that was reported. That they
And how
are
much of
gonna
it is
just dedicate a team to just squash them, like the UI problems, the weapon swap, some combat stuff. Just
Well, then you have
polish
your
those
build
little
problems,
bits
right?
and pieces.
You have to have the depending how many you have. Say you have 100 developers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have 100 developers, depending how many components you have built. You're gonna then get a build script that's gonna do all that in the amount of time you can do. So while you could get even 1,000 developers, you're gonna be limited to the number of bugs you can fix based on your build structure. So it's all gonna depend on something that size, how it's gonna work. More than likely, though, they're gonna focus on things that make a big difference to people. The PvP. Right, I didn't notice that lag, but that would be a big one. I don't think the UI is going to be that important. They're going to, we're going to give that a level 3. We'll get to that. It's the ones that it's going to affect gameplay. They're going to want to focus on.
Well,
swimming.
I would imagine
That's not a bug. That's a feature.
I would imagine different people will be working on those things, though. Like your UI
sure.
developer is not going to be working on your PvP structure anyway.
Right. But it depends on how many teams you have and how your build structure works, because you've got to get it from the build over to the stage to QA to pre-stage to production.
I mean,
you got to figure all that out, and then they dovetail in.
My optimist side wants to imagine they have a proper structure going on with their, version control and their. No, I want to believe, man. I want to believe. Okay, I want to believe that. I want to believe that their UI development team can work separately from their backend PvP stability team.
I would think that they can work separately, but to compile them into a build structure, I don't know if they're at that level.
Well,
because they're a couple years old, and both games so far, except one, have failed. Right?
True.
Coffee House, that's still out, and then some other one made it, but the rest got canceled. I just wonder, because they're big doesn't mean they have the right SDLC. Right?
True, but I want to believe
it's all going to depend. I remember at DTE, a place I used to work, there was a terrible build structure for the whole major part of the developers. We had a separate team that was doing faster development for very small dedicated stuff, and we had a build structure that would take care of that every day. Every day, if you broke the build, you bought bagels. That's just the way it goes. You just kept going. Eventually, they're gonna fix their code because they want to keep buying bagels.
Sure.
But it depends how you set it up. But not every company has that. It takes a lot of governance from above to say you have to do this. If you're doing it another way, it's not going to work repeatedly. I'm dealing with this all the time with vendors who claim to have the right level of SDLC, and then we talk to them, and they can hardly spell SDLC. It's just development life cycle. Sorry, that's what that is, right? I've been coding since I was 12. Let me go.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, still, I'm fairly certain that while their most likely backend team is working on improving the stability and the PvP lag and everything, there will be a team who are just working on the front end bugs like the UI and stuff, and then there will be a gameplay team who will be working on problems like weapon switching or tweaking the how your character moves, how you interact with the world. There will be people who are just working on the collision system, trying to prevent people from falling through the map and everything like that. So what I have seen is that a lot of people think the beta was very smooth based on their experience and didn't actually need a delay. But what I have also seen from, again, like reading posts on Twitter and Reddit, is that all those people who say, I had minor issues, so I don't think there needed to be a delay, they mentioned completely different set of minor issues.
And it's all perspective, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
I think the world's peaceful in my small little corner.
Yeah.
Right? But there's parts
So,
that it's not.
I think at the end of the day, there are so many small little things, including, as you said, probably something major as well.
Sure.
That they are keeping on the wraps, and something obvious like the PvP lag. That like a lot of those things can be really fixed in a month with a dedicated. Again, it, as you said, Storms, it really depends on how well they are structured internally. But
and I don't know how close you guys were following the. Or sorry, go ahead, Ark. You finish.
Sorry. I mean, think of this as a 4-month delay is what I was gonna end with saying, because I am 100% sure that those developers in the next 2 months, they are not gonna have weekends. They are gonna be working day and night, midnight.
Unfortunately, you're correct.
They are not gonna see their families. Most of them will probably be living in the office.
They're gonna get divorced.
A delay like this for a game of this size with a PR of this level means there is massive crunch incoming for those developers. So this is when they say this was not an easy decision to make, they're not just talking about, the player, lashback. They are talking about the next 2 months of their lives probably being a living hell.
Upended.
I've been there myself. I've slept in the office. We worked like national holidays, weekends, all the way up until like 4 a.m. Just it's when you have a date and delay it, not gonna be.
All goes back to the suits.
You realize that that's a misunderstanding of the suits then too, because when you put people through that structure, your productivity dies after 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
After that point, your productivity is dead. You might as well not even be coding. You need to have a setup to do that. That's why what they should have had, which they didn't do, I'll bet you, is have this bubble staff of developers, right? Because as a lumberyard, it's their freaking engine, right? You need to have a bubble staff, whether you want to put them in a 24 hours, a set in the one set of the world, one set in the other. It's up to you. But you need to have different people to do that. It's not like a machine that you can run for 20 hours and get the same productivity out as F10, right? You need a person loses productivity. It's been proven they lose productivity, and you're going to make it worse because they're not going to find the bugs. They're not going to find the fixes.
Potentially put more in.
Absolutely, right?
Right.
And then you got to have everybody who sits back who doesn't do the coding and says, okay, I want the components for the UI folks, they're going to come for us on this date. I want these components to come up for this date. That means you testers have to do this and do this and do this. And for a company this size, they have got to have 40, 50 project managers just to keep this game going.
That's massive.
I mean, it is massive unless it's totally in the engine, and then there are bigger problems. But I think a lot of it's going to be program managers to do this.
Yeah,
I would be surprised if that level of program manager is not needed. Because this is a lot of coding and a lot of management and a lot of making sure people get done when they say they get done. Because if that developer says, I'll get it done in 3 weeks, I automatically make it 9 weeks. That's what I do, right?
Yeah.
Because I just how people think that way. I'm perfect. I'm awesome. I'll never make a mistake. I thought that way myself. So you got to take into account for that.
Yeah.
So the developer probably said, I could fix this in a week. So they said, we'll put it out 4 weeks.
And
so I was going to make 2 points real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know how close you guys were following on Twitter during the beta, but towards the end of it, one of the things that they had not tested yet was a server merge.
Oh, yeah.
And they did do a server merge. It was with the EU, 2 EU servers and 2 US, I don't know, East or West. And actually, I believe they had issues with both. There were inventory swaps. People lost inventory. They lost coin.
I did not hear about that.
Yes. So there were some implementation issues, if you will, during that swap. The second comment I was going to make was and Ark, you and I were talking about this before Storms, you jumped on here. Way back when, in 2018, there was a comment that they wanted 10,000 players on the servers. And I think they hit 2,000 during beta. So we were kind of talking about that, and the math seems to be about right.
Much for
I agree.
For
that
for
size
the
of map.
gameplay perspective, like that's too crowded. It's
Yeah, it is.
Now, keep in mind that comment was made years ago.
Yeah.
10,000, right? So maybe they had different visions, different.
I would imagine
thought.
that's changed by now, but then again, who knows?
I would imagine. Yeah.
And so Siri in chat brought up a good point that I forgot. So he said beta wasn't that smooth. Lots of dupe glitches. My server was mostly controlled by one company that bought all the towns except 3 in 24 hours. I did hear about the duping.
The controlling the town means nothing to a bug, right? But the duping, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, the only way to gather all those towns in 24 hours is through probably duping, because you pay 100k gold per town. So within 24 hours,
I don't know.
There's
unless they all knew about the town board bug.
Yeah, it all depends what happened. We can't make an assumption, right?
But yeah, I mean, I did hear about duping. I didn't experience it myself or saw it personally, but that's also a good reason to figuring that out is very, very important.
So what was duping again?
Duplicating items or gold or something.
Right? How is that being duplicated?
How are
they doing that?
We will have to evolve.
Yeah, that's wild. I didn't even really know that much about it. Oh, jewels, gold, money, items. Wow, huh?
Well, when I wish this game had a unique name. I wish New World had a unique game and not just New World, because when you Google things based on just New World, you get everything. I just tried. I searched for New World dupe and I got lipsticks. I'm looking at lipsticks now.
I mean, I won't.
Look at your browser history. There you go.
You do you, man. You do you. It's all good. So something else that we were talking about earlier as well was I just slipped my mind. I knew that was going to happen.
What?
According to my mom, that means you're lying.
You're lying.
No, whenever I forget something, she's like, well, then you were lying. I'm like, no, I wasn't. She's mom. She's always right. Never.
So apparently, it was done by creating lag in the game by limiting the bandwidth the game can have in Windows, which I can imagine how that can be done if
what again?
So they are limiting the bandwidth the game can have in Windows, basically limiting the packets.
Yeah.
And it's possible, because we've done that stupidity in our game back in the day. If you don't safeguard your server client communications and allow for a second call to be made to the server, I earned 100k gold, I tell to the server.
To verify the transaction.
And before I get an answer, by slowing down my internet, slowing down the connection, because the answer delays, the client goes, oh, I didn't receive a call, receive an answer to my call, sends it again. And then you get double callbacks.
Well, that's a problem in the coding.
Yeah, that's
right, because that's a transaction issue. What that is.
Yeah.
That's.
I
can
see how that can be working.
Banks would not make it if that existed.
Oh no, yeah.
Wait, I'm going to slow this down.
Wait, hold on.
I can see in a game how they may have missed that, and you could be duplicating items by
the problem,
doing that.
Is you shouldn't be doing that. You should have, again, in my soapbox, right? You have people who they do architecture. That's what they do, right? And they do it over and over, and they do it well. And they say in the first day, oh, don't do that because you'll get dupes, right? We've got, in the company I'm in, we have an entire division that's IT architecture. That's what they do, and they've done it, and they love it, and they've done it for decades. And they know, you can't do that because that'll cause this over here. And I'm like, I had no clue, right? That's what the architecture group is for. But with games, they get this engine and they go, wow, we don't need architecture. We have an engine, right?
Yeah.
Well, you do if you don't think about that stuff.
And
But that also means
Yeah.
that Lumberyard has a problem, because if they're using Lumberyard to do this, the Lumberyard client server structure is not as well taken care of as it should be.
yeah. And the thing is, in games, to my experience, the proper coding can be overlooked many times in favor of speeding up the process. Like,
Oh,
there's
and every
the constant
company that
nagging,
is.
like,
Yeah.
finish this. You go and you ask for, like, give me 4 weeks for this, and they're like, nah, 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, we can do this in 2 weeks. We can also do this in 1 week, if we wanted. But in the
Turn
long
it on
term,
right now, but it's not going
If
to
you
work.
want crap, you can have it in a week,
like
right?
in the long term, that's gonna cause problems. But that developer to management and developer to product team communications, both in my experience and in all the stuff that I've seen within the industry online, is always a disaster and always cause problems such
It
as
is
this.
because when you get to a certain level, the idea is, I tell you what you to do. I will tell you what needs to be done. You tell me what you need to do it,
Mhm.
right? And if you don't tell me what I think you're going to tell me, I'm going to tell you to reduce it. The problem you have is you have people who've been around for 30, 40 years, right? And they know what they're doing, but they make assumptions based on details they have that if you're at a lower level, you wouldn't make because you have more details. That's why
Yeah.
you're supposed to have, in Agile, you're supposed to have the lower level set the estimate.
Right.
The upper level can say, hey, the backlog, you can switch it, MVP can change, but you can't change the estimate because the estimate was set by the people with the most details. The company I'm in, they've made that problem go further because the estimate will be given by the detailed folks, and then the upper level say, yeah, you're wrong. It should be half that. So all of a sudden, the people at the bottom are working for this team up top that said it should take this long, but they don't have all the details that the guys down there had. And you end up that over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you need to be able to say those with the most details set the estimate. And then that's period. With Agile, MVP tells you what can get in, what can't. You don't change the estimate. But unfortunately, when you have a company that tries to make things faster, which a lot do because they think it'll make more money, right? They cut out the estimate because they figure they know more than the developers do.
Yeah.
But they don't. That's the problem. They should be changing the MVP. You should ask Alpha Soul, right? Because he's a product owner. He knows how that works.
I guess at the end of like if a game is delayed, that's when it was originally supposed to be released, but someone decided that it should be released way earlier than recommended, and hence
More than
it just
likely
didn't
that is
work
the
out.
case.
And yeah. So it's
So
good.
we can push to hit this date, but our fallback was the original.
So what we have and what I've done is when I tell my leadership it's going to take, well, don't tell anybody. When it's going to take 4 weeks, I'll say it's going to take 6 weeks. Because I know they're going to come back and say, we need it in 4 weeks. And I'll say, but if I said 4 weeks, they would have said 2 weeks.
Right.
Actually, we were at some point in the company, we were struggling a lot. Like we just couldn't keep up with the demands of the product, basically. Product team. It was like, do this, fix that, add this feature. We're like, when? There's just not enough time. And our CTO was mainly focused on the backend side of things because at the time we were basically in the process of carrying our entire server architecture to AWS. So he was like 4 months just dedicatedly focused on the backend team. And once all those things died over, he switched to our side, which, we were the client team. And basically that's one of the things he did. He was like, from now on, you are just gonna, say extra time. If they ask you, just add 2 weeks to what you're gonna say. And that was like the CTO's approach to it as well in the company. He was like, they're not gonna understand you. You just say extra time.
Yeah.
So before we keep or move on, but I mean, overall, I'm happy they did it. I'm disappointed they did it, but I'm glad that they're going to take the time to address the issues rather than just release it, have issues, and you're still going to have the same people that are going to be mad.
Yeah,
You
oh,
are.
If not more now, because then they released the game knowing that it was broke.
Yep.
So
honestly, the only people that I like understand the frustration and outlash is people who took time off, specifically for August 31st and that week. That I can understand the frustration and going on Twitter and like, damn it, why did you delay the game and be angry? But otherwise, this is a good thing that they are realizing that the game needs extra time, because when people don't realize this, there's no turning back. Once you push that launch button, fixing things on the go can just add more and more issues, and 2 years, 3 years into the game's lifetime, everything explodes. It's like playing Jenga. It becomes unstable to the point that everything seems like it's standing still and working. But at some point, you just pull one more piece away and the entire thing shatters. And that's kind of what happened to ESO as well, probably. Like Elder Scrolls Online, a couple years back, introduced the DLC, and everything that was hanging on by a thread just blew up.
Fell apart.
It fell up. The entire thing fell apart. And they spent the entire year basically fixing it all back up. And they still have been like making improvements. And that happened with the game I was working on as well. And we've been warning them. Like, we've been warning people like, okay, we are rushing all these features. We are rushing all these bug fixes and everything like that. But this is going to blow up at some point. And it did. During a massive marketing campaign, the servers just died. And that's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of just waste, marketing waste, because you're spending hundreds and thousands of dollars, but the game's not that people can't log into the game, So
they're not going to like that.
Yeah, it's good to fix things before everything falls apart and before you push that launch button. So, yeah.
Yeah, but as far as my experience in the beta, overall was pretty good. Definitely had some PvP lag, like I mentioned before. Aside from that, just that kind of UI issue bug that I had where it just that data on the inventory would just pop up randomly when I was mining or doing any trade skills. That was really about it. Other than that,
mine was my own fault.
Felt smooth. Yeah,
my own fault was trying to jump into PvP the last couple of days, having no hardly any armor, hardly anything. Just jump in for the fun of it, get smacked, and I'm down. That's all right. Next time I want to take more approach, but I want to, when we're really into it, the real game, then I want to do some more PvP. I want to definitely push bash, the expeditions. The Armine expedition, the first time I tried it, we had 5 guys, could not get past that last boss. I quit after an hour.
Yeah.
Like, we're done.
Were you all level 25-ish, or were you like lower level than 25?
We're like 21, 22, 23.
I heard of a couple people doing that. It took a while.
The second time I did that, I was the lowest at 22. Then there was a 25, 27, 29, and a 50 level healer. He was just healing everybody, right? That was all that was. I think one person died, me. But because with me, it's like I have the musket or the bow, depending what I want to do. But I'm also a hatchet. I just jump in and start slacking at everybody. That's what I do.
And that final boss hits like a truck. Like Armine Expedition's final boss.
You just gotta stay behind
enraged.
Him. Oof. Oh yeah, I'm always checking his feet. You watch his feet. That's gonna tell him when he's gonna jump, right? So it's like I'm always behind him.
How about that dungeon though?
That was great.
That was an awesome dungeon, and that was the only one that I got in. Right, my big thing getting in this beta, I didn't want to ruin the game for myself, right? So I wanted to get in. I wanted to learn some of the mechanics. I wasn't trying to power level or anything like that, except my logging. I don't know. call me weird for some reason.
What level did you get your logging to?
Okay, you're weird.
Yeah. 135 was my max
Yeah,
level
Oh,
of
see,
there you
there
go.
you go.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm going to hit that hunting. So we'll have to
There you
define
go.
who's doing what, right?
That's right.
But you know, they had done really good. They had really good, and they had said they were going to do this. Was DPS checks in the roads, right? When you tried to get to Sweetwater, no, Reekwater.
Reekwater.
Right?
Yep.
When you saw, last week we said we had to find goats, right? I was trying to find goats, and all I could find on the map in
I
New
took a
World
screenshot.
Fans,
I took a
right?
screenshot. I told you I would.
Well, all I saw was in Reekwater, and I'm like, well, okay, I've never been to Reekwater. Let's try that. Sticking to the road, right? Turns out I had to go to the very far north to cross over to Reekwater.
Yeah.
If you tried halfway up, it's the New Orleans broken down town in the middle of the swamp, and you have to cross between it. They would smoke me, like 50 level NPCs. Just boom, I'm dead.
I sprinted through there.
I couldn't make it through. So I'm like, all right, I'll go north. I went all the way up north, went down the road, and put down a camp. I'm like, I better put down a camp. I just got into Reekwater. I went up. I saw a goat. I shot a goat. It had a skull on it because it was such high level.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it killed me, right? I got killed by a goat.
Yep.
So at that point, I'm like, I'm still going to go to Reekwater, but forget these goats. I'm done. No more goats.
I saw that goat and I was like, I found one. Same thing. I hit it once and I don't even think I saw its health bar drop down. I was like, I'm out.
No.
I'm out.
Yeah. It was crazy, man. So I definitely want to level up so I can get there. And the atmosphere was tremendous. The difference between the
visuals, the
fall
audio.
looking to the New Orleans swamps, tremendous, right?
Awesome.
The biomes are
Louisiana
just
biomes,
beautiful.
it's awesome.
And I spent
the
my
willow
last
trees,
day
tremendous.
of beta just trying to get into some of the high level zones like Eden Garden something,
Like
Yes.
North Gates.
Ebon Scale and
Yep.
Reekwater. And
You could make it into Ebon Scale by jumping over the mountains, which I did.
Oh, I didn't. I tried to take the road, and there are
But
musket
there's-
guys on the road, and you
Yeah.
can't even run past them because they have muskets. They shoot you in
Right.
the back.
So I jumped over the mountain and into a little valley, and all of a sudden, a real true boss alligator, and like 10 other alligators just swarming me. Right?
Oh,
I'm like, I'm done. I just forget it.
I quit.
I
I'm out.
can't get any further.
I just kept
But yeah, it was a
climbing
lot of fun.
on cliffs to like remove the aggro so everything retreats, and then run to a different cliff. I made my way to a temple in Ebon Scale, and it's absolutely gorgeous, but I just couldn't stay alive long enough to take like a video, because whenever I tried to take a video, some wolf just came by and just bit my face off.
Phenomenal scenery out there. I mean, trying to get into the bottom of Reekwater, which you go down whatever it was, and you go along the ocean, you cross it over, you find out, well, where can I walk across without dying because I can't swim, right? I found a place to walk across. I'm going in between these like 45 level pirates trying to not aggro them, right? Finally get up, jump around, go through some cliffs, past this cemetery with like level 35 ghosts or whatever, and then I get a part that's nothing there. There's another guy there. He's jumping through. He's like level 40. So I'm just following him, thinking he knows what he's doing. He's jumping these rivers, jumps over, and jumps up and starts running. Like, oh, all right, so I'll do the same. And I didn't notice the alligators again from the side. These alligators come running, right? And alligators you cannot outpace. FYI. You can outpace wolves, lynx, but you can't outpace certain animals you can't outpace.
Their lunge with their chomp is pretty far.
Oh yeah. It was fun though. It was great to see those new visuals.
Yeah, I commend them nonstop on the visuals and the audio.
Oh yeah.
Those are some of the things that we all take for granted as gamers. Most of us usually do. But when you just sit there and just, because I'll be doing some work and I just would leave it on and just listening to some of the background. It did a good job.
the ambient noise in the
Oh.
biome, right, was
Yep.
tremendous. And the frogs and the flies and
Yep.
you hear the crickets and you hear all of a sudden something goes
Turkeys.
thump, turkeys everywhere. I saw like 2 or 3 people with a turkey terminators. Right there, you go.
Turkeys
That
sometimes
was
scare
fun.
me because their volume is so high though. They're like,
Oh yeah.
if they
Yeah.
start like doing that right next to you suddenly in
You jump.
silence, it's like, jeez, what? It makes me jump.
That's why I like having the 7.1 surround sound headphones.
Yep.
Right,
Ark
'cause I
just
can
kills
hear
them
it.
just because they scared him.
Oh yeah, that ambient sound is insane. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So I've actually spent the last couple days of the beta just going to random locations and recording pure ambient audio, sort of like an ASMR relaxing type
Nice.
video. And it's just so beautiful, the sound, the sound design of the game. And people who are actually have no interest in New World as a game, for example, Lotus of Doom from Tales of Tamriel podcast that we do, he has absolutely zero interest in New World, except he actually loves watching the like ambient videos because of the game's world and the sound design. I mean, he enjoys in games just walking around, just going
How
from
cool
point A
is
to
it?
point B. And
Yeah.
New World definitely has
And
that.
the sound.
Like, it's just gorgeous.
Mhm.
I just thought it was such an awesome touch to be sitting there playing the game, get a text message or something, you have your headset on, and you just hear a tree fall. And it's like super far away. And you're like, I just think it was really, really good. Nice touches.
And, like the echo and everything changing depending on whether if you're in an enclosed
Yes.
space or open
Yep.
area.
In a cave, yeah.
Do we know if
It's
there's a
just
winter
nice.
biome?
I
didn't see one.
When I played during the preview event, there was a winter biome. I remember an area
North
covered in
Gates.
snow.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it during the beta, but it may have been just that I just wasn't leveled enough to
Right. We didn't get
manage
far.
to
I
get
didn't cover
there.
anywhere near the whole thing at all.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's,
The
if not now, there should be in
I didn't
release.
check. Like, I didn't make it to the northmost 3 territories.
The first thing I'm going to do when we restart is run as far as I can to each town as long as I get past the DPS check to be able to fast travel between towns, right? Because sometimes your quest will be way out BFE and you have to run there unless you've already been to a town where you can just pop back to a spirit stone and somewhere.
Yeah.
And also mark where the spirit stones are. Because there's more than just the one I've been using. I know there's 2,
I didn't
at least
do them
2.
in beta. And I'm gonna pay more attention because I realized a quest location that I had to run back so many times while just being like, oh, I'm just going there again, oh, back again, oh, there again. There's like 5 meters next to it was a spirit shrine. I was like, when I figured it out, I was like, oh god, come! I spent 1 hour just going back and
the
forth.
fisherman.
No, the fisherman I found. This was a separate one, but
Yeah.
I
had found a place where you could. There you go.
That's
found
going
a
to be so
place-
important for Azoth
I had
and fast
4.
travel.
I had 2.
And there's got to be more.
But I kept running out of. I mean,
Which
not
one?
running out of hitting the Azoth cap. All the time I was hitting the cap.
3,000. Really?
Yeah, I was hitting 1,000
see-
every. I did it all the time.
When I ran out of Azoth, when we lost control of all territories, and I had to fast travel to a territory that wasn't ours. So
that could
the
be it.
price
enough.
goes up to 200s per fast
that could
travel
be it.
when you are not
Ah,
controlling the
right.
territory. It's
That'll be
insane.
Storms, I
Immediately
think ours was
went
like
away.
40 or 60.
Yeah, usually in between 30 and 60, depending where I'd go, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was running around in those 3 territories because when
Yeah, that's
I
'cause
started
you
in
have
Monarch
it.
Bluffs, but then everybody was working on a First Light. I jumped over to First Light, right?
See,
So
I
I was
started
sort
in
of doing
first light.
both. I started doing both. Well, the first, the last bit of Alpha, I started in Monarch Bluffs, and the Beta again, I started in Monarch Bluffs. But since you guys were all in First Light, I'll jump down there, right? So I already had some idea of what's around Monarch Bluffs, and I knew that in one particular spot there were 2 elk spawns. So I could hit one elk, wait 2 minutes, and hit the other elk. So when I had those elk quests, I could go through those pretty quickly. But then I'm like, well, wait a minute. There's got to be more elks than just these 2.
Hmm.
So I looked at the New World fans interactive map, right?
Mhm.
Because I do that. And I found a spot down just a little bit down the road. There were 10 elk spawns.
Oh, wow.
So honestly, I could just hit one, pause,
Turn it in.
hit one, and turn it in, right? It was just insane. But they got to do better with the goats. They got to get them out of Reekwater. How can you have a low-level quest running into Reekwater?
Yeah.
So, from chat, Siri again. Apparently, your Azoth cost for fast travel depends on how much weight you are carrying as well on you.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
did not know that. That makes so
I'm a
much
hoarder.
sense.
I was always dropping stuff off at the local storage bin.
I was running around with like 400 pounds on me. Just
Oh, that would be why, right?
I was logging trees, so I was always at 250 weight, so
That's true.
249.
Also,
That did-
Hewland
I
says he did see a snow biome in first
cool.
alpha. So he saw in first
Oh,
alpha.
okay.
I saw in preview event because I wasn't
So
in
there
alpha.
might be one coming up in release because they were still
Yeah.
hiding probably half the map.
There
That's
were
gonna be a big
pathways,
world.
Like
Yeah.
there were roads leading, and if you tried to go there, the game just killed you.
Yeah.
It did it pretty fast too. I couldn't even react. I tried. I mean, you see like a wall thing,
It's
like
not like
sparkly
Slaughterfish.
wall.
You just,
Yeah, I just passed through it thinking, okay, I was like, if it starts killing me, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go back. It killed me so fast. I didn't even
Yeah.
get to just like run back.
Conan needs the chance to back up, Whoops. I'm
So
stepping on
I
top.
thought I saw on a YouTube video toward the end of the beta, the whole server met up and ran to the north gates. And I thought there was some snow at the north gates. I don't think
find
more
out.
or less what you were thinking, like a snow biome.
Yeah, I'm thinking of snow
Um,
biome, but let's find out.
I'd say like spring, early winter biome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think it was anything like what you were taught, all white.
Yeah, I think they will. I just don't think we've seen it yet.
Sure. Well, I mean, if you look at the map, right? I mean, it looks, there's
Mhm.
roads leading out to other territories. If you
Yeah.
zoom out all the way and release, there's still a whole section
Yeah, there is large portions missing.
that's
Yeah,
not
no,
there.
phenomenal.
Are these DLCs? Are these expansions? I don't know.
It depends. The DLC is typically like an ESO. They didn't have the roads leading off until they put the DLC in, right? So I'm thinking the first release, but I don't know. You never know.
I'm
Yeah.
curious about the release schedule of New World as well, which they still haven't told anything about. Like, is it going to be DLCs? Is it going to be
No,
expansions?
they have no clue yet. They want to see what they're
Yeah.
doing.
Well, I guess that makes sense too.
This is their
Also,
first crack
the fact
at it.
that there were no physical collector's edition saddens me. I want to add to all the things behind me. Like, where's my physical collector's
We'll make a
stuff?
hatchet. That's what we'll do. We'll make a hatchet.
Well, no, I don't want a hatchet. I hate the hatchet.
No, I want a hatchet. hatchets are awesome.
Give me a
I-
staff.
You're in a
Hatchet
woodworking.
and musket.
You're
all
in
the
a
time.
woodworking shop as we speak. You should have
That's
a
right.
hatchet there by default.
Oh, I have several.
There you go. You
They
don't need
look.
more.
They don't look like. They don't look like the one in New World, but that's okay. The ones I have, you can't throw very well. They're not meant to throw. Though I'm thinking
Maybe-
about. They have a league of axe throwing around here, so I'm thinking maybe I'll do that. So there you
Oh
go.
wow, there you go. Real life
You
You
hatchet.
should, and you should engrave it and make it look like what is that? The platinum.
Oh, there you
hatchet.
go. Right. Mhm.
runners.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And make it out of platinum.
Make it out of platinum. While I'm at it, let's
Sure.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to see them add something more physical for the collector's edition.
Mhm.
Never know. They might.
Also,
Yeah.
it reminds me,
And hopefully not just a
Syrian.
map.
map would be nice too.
A turkey. They're gonna send you a turkey.
And it just randomly
Yeah.
gobbles.
Gobbles all the time.
Scare
Yeah.
mark.
Yeah.
Do we think, and I could be wrong because it's the whole world, but New World has to me a fall look to it, right?
Yeah.
It's like when I first walked into Rivenspire in ESO. I'm like, it happened to be October. I'm like, oh, this fits, right? It's that
Mhm.
look to it. Most of what I've seen so far of New World has that fall look to it.
Yeah, that's why I love it so
You
much.
thinking they're
I
going to
mean,
add seasonality to it?
I don't know.
Everfall
That would be interesting.
is
Hmm.
so for specifically speaking, Everfall obviously represents the fall, and it has the most fall colors. The color scheme changes.
It does.
From biome to biome, but as you said, a lot of it is very lush. Like, but if you go to Ebon Scale, well, I guess no, Ebon Scale Reach is also pretty fall because it has. So Ebon Scale is very Japanese design, and
what you meant there then?
And
cool.
it has sakura trees, basically the cherry blossom trees all around the pink trees.
Oh, nice.
And those blossom in fall as well. So now that you mention it, Ebon Scale Reach is also pretty
interesting.
Pretty fall, yeah. And yeah, I guess.
See how that works.
I mean, some of the places were like full on swampy to be fall feeling, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah, but even full on swampy, still gonna have fall, right?
True.
Unless you're in like Brazil, then on the equator you're not gonna get a whole lot of fall.
Yeah.
You pretty much have a season.
Summer.
I am happy with fall is my favorite season, both for like weather-wise and color-wise. So I'm happy with every zone being like Everfall, pretty much.
Well, the problem is New World can't swim, and that's what I do in the summer. So what are you gonna do? Is you got to be able to swim, or you can't do it.
That's why it's fall time. It's not summer.
That's it.
Because
Well,
you
that's
can't
when
swim in game.
When you go sailboating, when you stay in the boat, right? Except if I'm 12 and I flip it, and that's okay. I'll flip it back up.
Right. So Storms,
Siri
you said
chat,
that you started at Monarch's Bluff, right?
Yes.
And I started in First Light. Arc, where'd you start?
Everfall.
Yeah. So they're splitting up where you start.
I actually have a question about that. So when I started in Everfall, everything in Everfall was level appropriate to me. Like everything was low level, level 110. So when you started, but First Light, for example, for me was high level, and Monarch's Bluff was high level. So
by the time you got there, though.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you started in first fall,
smaller. They out. They start out low level tiers, right? When I started in Monarch's Bluff, the first day in beta, the first day, right? The trading post was basically a cabinet, right? Just a cabinet with a few other things. But then as more people used it, and it got bigger and bigger and turned into a building and different. Then it was a building with one window, then a building with two, then a building with two windows and an outside.
NPCs.
Like the creatures that you fight. Like the boars and wolves and everything.
Oh, no, they didn't change for me at all.
So for
Monarch Bluffs were lower.
Okay, so it scales based on where you start. Like the zone levels scale based on where you start.
I believe
because
so.
For me, Monarch's Bluff was like level 15 to 25 or something like that.
Oh, no. For me, it was like level 6.
No,
yeah, for me, Everfall was level 6. Like level 1 to 6.
I think they're all the same, right? So where I started in First Light, it was 1 to 10, right? And then I had to head into First Light. Later on, I was in my 20s. I went over to Monarch's Bluff and found that little starter camp where you do your first missions. Same thing. It was 1 to 10, right? All the creatures right there were 1 to 10.
But what else on the town? What were they around the town for you?
Mid-teens, upper teens.
Because they're like level 5 and 6 for me in Monarch Bluff.
Really?
Right. So I think it's based on where you start, and therefore then your level, what those are, right? Because when I went into Everfall, everything was level 15, right? In everything, even though it was the same type of creatures, they were a higher level. So, like when I put in Monarch Bluffs, everything was like a 6. A boar was a 6. The dretchers were 7. Things like that. When I went to Everfall, they were like 14, 15, 16. When I went to Requad, they're like level 50. Right?
Everfall for me, like the farms around Everfall, for me was like level 7 zombies.
Oh no, for me it was
7
higher.
to 9.
Yeah, and so it's got to be based on where you start, and then they scale how high level you are. So it might not matter. Let me think this through. It might not matter where you start. They may scale with you. You just happen to start in A, and so for A seems lower.
Yeah, but for example, I start in Everfall. You start in Monarch's Bluff. For me, Everfall is low level, so I can start my game in Everfall. But if you come to Everfall right away, so we can play together, you are gonna be
I don't know. We should try that, right?
Yeah,
So when we start an alpha, right? We should, if we start in 2 different towns, one of us should stay in the town we're at and take a screenshot. This is where we are, and then run to the next town. What is your level of stuff? And then run to the next town. What is your level of stuff? And then we can determine how they're doing that.
Well, I'm really curious. I think
it's very interesting.
Also with the PvP scaling as well.
Well, I don't know what's going on that because that got creamed. So
that was a very controversial
Everybody
topic.
was 30,000 levels higher than me, so we're fine, right? One hatchet hit, I'm like dead. So go ahead.
So I think I was 28, and I went up against a 39 or a 40,
right?
And I held my own, which I was surprised because in any other MMO I've played, I'd have just been spanked.
I didn't even prep for it, so I didn't expect to get very far. So I'm just like, let's go. I think you had called for help once. It took me like 10 minutes to get there. You're gone. I'm like, I'm just going to run out there anyways.
Oh, yeah, that was the fort. Yeah, we were getting we were getting owned. That's right.
So, as to our starting dilemma, Siri in chat says, at the beginning, if you don't go to the closest tower and skip to another town, you can start there. Or you can delete the character and start again. So, so that we don't get stuck at that level problem if we want to play together and end up starting in different zones. So just right after the tutorial, instead of going to that guy at the tower, you just skip it and go to, for example, if you're in Everfall and we all want to play in Everfall, we all go to the tower of Everfall to start our first questions.
Yeah.
Thank
that was
you
a
for
thing.
That, yeah.
Interesting.
As for the PvP side, I did fight people above my level range as well. So I got up to 35 max, and I killed some 55 level people, but I guess they weren't PvP oriented. I also PvE fought folks. Some like level 60 people, and I did like everything in my arsenal, everything. And just barely got their health to like half. And gear is very important when it comes to because I'm running blue gear most, and they have full gemmed out purple gear ready to go. It's like 5 bonuses on each, 700.
Got orange legendary. It's like why am I even fighting you?
It was like when we went into ESO after the last patch, and everything was reset.
Yeah.
And I'd run in and not realizing my character had nothing set, right? No skills, no armor, no nothing. Boom. What the hell just happened? Oh, that's why. I mean, this one is going to be the same way. You really have to focus on PvP or no. I will probably have a character that focuses on PvP and then a character that focuses on PvE.
But you can only have one per server.
So? Different servers. It's all going to depend, right? Because like on ESO, I enjoy playing the healer. Sometimes though, I want to kick some serious butt, so I don't play the healer, right? So I want to do more than say, hey, don't stand in stupid. So this is what I want to do, right?
Don't stand in stupid.
But we'll figure it out.
I'm going to steal that.
Plays. Yeah, we're going to see how that works.
Even with that, right? I mean, the cost to respec, what I noticed, I think at 33,
it was nothing. If it stays that way.
It was 50 coin.
Either that or they have some sort of
at level 35, I had to respec for like I believe 200 gold. So it goes
maybe
up.
I got my level mixed
up. Still, that isn't much, right?
Yeah,
it's 1,000 gold in an hour.
I did absolutely zero trading. And I had about 8k gold by the end of the beta at level 35, just by doing quests.
Spent all my gold, but I did a little bit of trading. I sold River Stem because what I noticed in the alpha was River Stem was very hard to come by. River Stem and Petal Cap. That I sold the most of. So the first 2 days, I spent some of the time leveling harvesting.
That's for potions.
So I could get to Rivercrest. Absolutely. So this time, even though I like to focus on melee, I'm going to focus on harvesting and tracking. That's what I want to do the most.
So in our company, I'm going to be doing the alchemy. Right?
There you go.
So that's...
I thought you would be doing logging. from your.
Well, yeah. I think indirectly we're all going to be leveling up everything.
Yeah.
But
But the
yeah,
focus
so
you want to keep on, yeah.
my focus is logging, but I'm going to have to work on gathering as well.
The
Also,
ability of
Toxic in chat
harvesting
says,
to. Oh, go ahead.
respec every time you respec your stats, it goes up. So it adds
Interesting.
up. Apparently, yeah.
Huh.
So wait, if you respec at 35 and it's 100 gold or coin, should say, if you have to respec again, it goes up higher.
I think so. Yeah.
I would imagine. Wow.
Based on that
Interesting.
comment, that would be it. Yeah. And I did respec a few times, so that could explain why mine was like 200.
I think
Well,
I
I
only respec
wonder
twice.
though if they're going to come out with like a stew to respec, right? Like an Ark, there's a stew you can eat to respec yourself.
Oh,
Or
Right.
that would be
if
nice.
you can spend $15 cash,
Oh,
there
that
you
will
go.
definitely be a thing. 100%.
There you
That
go.
store.
Mhm.
Well, I want to say
yeah.
99 in case they don't add it. 99% chance there's going to be like respect scrolls or whatever. in
Oh,
there.
yeah, there
Oh,
will
yeah.
be. That'll come as it goes, as they start to figure this out, right? But it'll be
Character.
interesting. Oh yeah,
Buy an extra character on a
that's.
server.
I think I have like 14 ESO or something like that. But I keep buying
Extra
more.
character is tricky though. There's a reason they allow only one character, and that's the territory control stuff.
Yeah,
Unless they
that's
lock
important,
your
right?
account to a faction, adding more characters is a problem.
Yeah, the way they handled that with ESO is, your cooldowns and all that on your different PvP factions.
Yeah,
I wonder
and
if they
even
do that
that
per
came
server.
very late. Like,
Yeah, that did. It just came a little bit ago. Absolutely.
mhm.
So we'll see what
Or-
comes along with this. I'm excited about it.
Or if we could
Yeah.
go factionless, right, Ark?
Yeah. So, that's
There
that's
you
what
go.
we've been
That
talking
just
about
popped in my
before.
mind.
Yeah,
you're the spies. You're
before
gonna
we
go in there
actually
and
started the show
mercenaries.
during the pre-show. So we were thinking. So apparently during the beta, there have been people who were selling war slots to people, like the controlling company.
On our server, we saw a territory battle that the defending territory was actually accepting coin to get a spot in the battle.
Hmm.
So that
And you know
Kinda
what?
neat.
People will
it's,
do that
it's fine.
when there's a limited quantity. People will do
Sure.
that.
yeah.
That feels unfair, but that's the way life goes.
But
There are
by-
things that
by
are
And
unfair.
having-
see, it's a
By
tricky
putting
thing.
taxes and stuff in a game, you've
Mhm.
introduced politics, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's
Oh, you have.
politics.
And some of these tax rates, hopefully they're in the beta, were just plain stupid. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I think people are just goofing around.
So what that
there's- the incentive of taxes is yes to make money, but it's also bring in more people.
Mhm.
sure.
So there's got to be a balance between that.
And the towns also have to pay upkeep as well, which just
Yes.
can range depending.
Yes.
So it's like could be
Mhm.
5,000, 8,000
Yep.
coin a day. I don't know. But what kind of spiraled this conversation into factionless was Ark and I were talking about how cool would that be if you had, say, a company that was factionless and they were like the masters of PvP. And now all of a sudden you've got the Marauders were like, hey, we'll give you 50,000 coin for your company to defend
Mhm.
our settlement. And
Yeah.
I thought, well, now you're introducing a fourth
So you're
faction.
doing mercenaries, but you can't have 4. You
Mercenaries.
got to have an odd number, right?
Yeah,
so they're going
so-
to call you that out.
No,
But
but these guys can fight for
they
anyone.
can't-
That's the thing.
They can't own territories.
Well, that would change that, right? So that'd be interesting if they're going to do that.
Like they
be
cannot
pretty cool.
benefit from any territory bonuses, but they can fight for anyone for the right price. So
Well,
if you
you
are
know.
like a crafting company that somehow took over, I don't know, Everfall, like you had so much money initially because everyone's a crafter, and or you do PVE, you have a lot of gold, but you don't have the PvP people to defend Everfall. So you just pay this factionless company, and they're like, yeah, sure, 100K,
But if you're-
and we keep it. It's fine.
If you're factionless and you put your PvP flag up, anybody can kill you.
Yeah. And one thing I didn't like about the PvP flag is if you'd set it and then you fight, come back, log off, come back on, your
Still
flag
on.
is still set until
Yeah.
you unset it, right? So several times I would just goof around, fight, come back, log off, and then run out and be 6-7 clicks away from a town, and all of a sudden, whoops, I'm on PvP, right?
Yeah.
Here I am trying to do a simple mission, and bam, but that's okay. You're learning that process.
I think
I
it would
kept
be
having
nice
level
to just.
55's camp right at the gate.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
ridiculous.
love the gate
I think
battles.
there should be a
though.
longer thing. The gate battles are fun, but you should be at least get out right without doing it. What I don't like is the guys who'll fight, but then they'll dive back into the gate. It's like, oh, come on. If you're going to fight, come out here and fight.
Yeah.
A simple solution to the your PvP being set after login, log out would be just adding a game preference setting. Just restore my PvP to default upon logging out or something like that.
Well, they may have. I didn't even look at preferences or key bindings or any of that.
I don't think there is. Yeah.
I don't think there was.
I don't know. Didn't do any of it.
Default on or default off.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this more than any other game I've looked forward to because I've been involved in this process. ESO I joined late, right?
Yeah.
A couple of years into it because I tried the first day and it threw me away. But because I played Skyrim and all of a sudden it ended up in Morrowind, I'm like, what are mushrooms doing in Skyrim? Anyways, so I'm looking forward to this from the bottom up to keep grinding and going. I love the fact that I can. Again, turn it on and off, but run through a field. If there's nuts in the ground, I can see the nuts. If there was turkeys, I can see the turkeys. And eventually, if there's bears, if there's wolves, I can see those on the compass, and I can track them that way.
Yeah,
that to me was really cool.
For
I
me,
can
I
see
think
Rivercrest and see Rivercrest.
Exactly, yeah. And I think with the whole company, right? Because I was the governor of our company, I would like to see if they're taking this extra time. I'd like to see them add a company storage, if you will.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I think it would be fair if the governor allotted the town, right? You can only do it in one town, and that's where the company storage is, right? I mean, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But I would like to see that added.
I mean, right now, having someone being a crafter in the company will be a nightmare for distribution of crafted items. They were like, yeah, line up, I'm distributing items, H, trade,
drop,
H,
drop,
trade,
drop,
H,
drop.
trade.
What if I'm not online?
Oh, there you go, that too, yeah.
Yeah.
What if you're not online and I
We are
have the
getting ready
supplies that
for
you
battle. We need foods and potions and items. Where is Sivian? Oh yeah, he's on vacation.
He'll be back in a week.
So,
he'll be back in a week.
Here, hold on. Let me text you my login information. Oh, wait, my account just got shut down because of an IP address issue.
There you go.
But I definitely think they should add. I would like to see them add a or maybe that turns into a company perk, right? So once you hit a certain level in a company, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
That could be sweet.
Yeah, very good.
Another thing they need to add that I thought they added, but apparently it was just Steam taking over my controller. Controller support. The game doesn't have now. I don't like using controllers. Don't get me wrong. I only use controllers when I'm either flying ships in Star Citizen or Elite Dangerous, or when I'm recording a video for the analog camera movement, like the smooth camera movement stuff. But New World has a lot of great accessibility settings. They have speech to text. They have text to speech. They have colorblind filter. They have great accessibility options.
Multiple colorblind filters. Yes. I did not know that.
And among these accessibility options, they do not have a controller support. Which is one of the greatest accessibility things in game. Because when you add a default controller support for an Xbox controller, you also add immediately support for all the custom-made or, Microsoft's accessibility controllers and everything like that, because they essentially work like an Xbox controller, just with customized input systems depending on the person's needs. Able Gamers, Special Effect, these charities create amazing custom controllers, but if the game doesn't have a controller support, those don't do anything. So New World, if you're listening, in this month delay, adding controller support should be one of the primary things that you do. Come on. You can't just not add a controller support while adding all those accessibility options into the game. That's just complete it.
Well, you
complete
can,
the package.
But
you can, but
question.
Yeah.
Steam
Now, I
did it for
thought
you,
the game
though,
had
right?
controller support because when I connected my Xbox controller, it immediately started, like, I was able to move my character and camera around and everything. Apparently, that was just like Steam
Wow, that's wild.
controller thingy something. I don't know the details because, again, I rarely use the controller, but I tried to set, like, controller bindings. It just didn't work. And then people said it actually doesn't support controllers, and it was a Steam thing, so, yeah.
Interesting.
That might actually be one of the things that they're adding in this extra month.
I don't know.
I would not be surprised because it was requested a lot too, on Twitter at least, in the comments. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Should
Could
open up
be nice.
Lumiere and see if it had a controller. It should have a controller option to it. Like Unity has one built in, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And a cheap one, but they've added some better ones. But I wonder if Lumiere does.
And
Interesting.
there are some other things that they're adding too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
for those that haven't known, there are some game file leaks that are out there. I haven't seen them.
I haven't seen them either. Huh.
But there are some other things that they've added already.
That'll be interesting. As we start into the cycle of release and leaks and all that, continuing, that'll be interesting, right? To me, anyways, because you get this anticipation of something coming. Right now, we've been anticipating for a long time. We went, okay, let's get it going, right?
It's been 2.5 years for
and
me.
then we'll go. I remember the alpha, the first alpha, right? It was a lot of fun. And this is, I think, a much better rendition of it. I think it's fantastic. But I just can't wait, right? Because honestly, between ESO keeping my attention part-time, Conan still keeping my attention a little bit. I'm still waiting for that the game, right? I think this is it, because when I'd play it, I'd not want to stop playing it. Like, wait, I got to build the stairs. I don't care. I want to do this, right? I still need stairs outside. I don't care. I want to do this. So I'm still not finished the stairs, even though New World ended. But, we'll get there.
Yeah, this is the first game in a long time that I really just wanted to log in every day and had that, I want to finish what I'm doing so I can go and log into the game. And even today, at some point today, I tried to log in.
Maybe
I was
it'll work.
oh yeah, I'm going to hop on. And then I opened Steam and I was like, oh man, it's
not going to work. Dang it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
Yeah, same here. Maybe they'll turn the beta back on.
Maybe. You'll give more months.
I expect them to do another beta, like even a short one, maybe during this 2-month period.
Maybe
just
they'll
to
do that.
test out like the things that they
2 months,
changed.
Right? I mean, interesting.
Well, they could level cap everybody at 50, right?
If it's not security, then they will. If it's a security fix, they won't.
Yeah, but they would want to try that too, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but it depends what it is. So it's going to keep my mind and watch this one. I would love to have a beta. Believe me, I would.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing I'm expecting is a roadmap.
So No World, get on it. I want a roadmap, and I want a beta, and I want a real game. Let's go. It's time.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
It's going to be good, though. It's well worth the wait.
It will be. A lot of fun. Everybody will be back to school. We can play games. We'll be doing good.
So during this time, we might not actually again end up doing a weekly show, depending on how much information we get.
Yeah,
we might skip a week or two here and there during the next 2 months, unless if they go full radio silent. I don't think we have enough things to talk about for 2 months of episodes.
I would agree.
So we might
a couple weeks we were good, but a couple months not so much.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
So we are nearing, we are at an hour and a half ish.
We can wait for we can use the Valheim and do the home and hearth thing when it comes out. In between now and I'm kidding. Go ahead.
The games are very similar.
See, that was the other one that was really I wanted to play. I want to play. I'll get up in the morning. I want to play, but
we'll record footage in Valheim, like hunting, skinning, doing logging, mining, and everything. We'll blur it a little bit, and then just play it in New World
Well,
directory.
then you need
It'll
to
be fine.
slow down the skinning because the skinning in the game is really slow.
Yeah.
That skinning needs to be a little bit faster. That's a bit much where I'd hit a wolf, I'd start skinning it, get 3/4 in it, and the same wolf would respawn. It's like, come on, this is you got to skin faster than this.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Well, do you guys have anything else to add? I'm out of topics to discuss at this point.
Not today.
I'm
Alright.
dry.
Well, if
with
we have
topics.
anything, we should save it for next week anyway. So we have content
For sure.
There you go.
Um,
There you go.
In that case, final thoughts and where can people find you and what you're up to, Storms?
Well, okay, so Storms, thank you. You can find me at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. You can find me on the Gilded site every once in a while. And you can check out, I've just started BA Storms on TikTok. Just trying to figure that out about the woodworking business. Did a couple of those. I've done them one the other day. So something I'm trying just to get more involved in the woodworking, which is faster. I don't want to give a whole lecture on how to do it, just about what's going on when I'm doing things like that. I will be opening a store to sell, the wood bowls and etc., but just not yet. We're getting there.
There
Nice.
you go. I mean, handmade and gaming stuff. That's
Mhm.
I'm interested. I mean, already the New World Compendium logo that is standing behind you, burned on wood
There you
right
go.
now. It's like I
Right?
am
Good.
eyeing that thing.
All I got to do is figure out how to post it to Turkey, right?
Honestly, that
It's-
might not be worth it. It might
fits
just be.
in a priority box. One of the things we did for making the cutting boards, is they fit in a priority mailer for USPS
Oh.
because it doesn't matter what they weigh, so that way they'll fit.
What about you, Sivian?
You can find me as well over at Gilded. Also on Discord, you can find me, and also I do stream from time to time on Twitch. Twitch handles Sivian21.
There you go, folks. And if you're interested on playing New World on US East, you can check out gilded.gg/Hands of Fate, which Sivian and Storms is a part of. And if you are planning on playing on Central EU and you want to play with me and the rest of the EU folks in our community, join our Discord. You can find it on dungeoncrawlernetwork.com under the socials tab, along with all the other links we have like Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. You can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork, which will give you access to cut content like pre-shows, post-shows, some bonus content, some extended editions, some physical rewards, and things like that. You can also support us by leaving a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words, and sometimes they matter. Thank you all so very much for joining us on this episode of the New World Compendium, and we will see you all next week. Have a great night, everybody.